All right, moving on. We have the next topic, which is Younha. Finally, with something new after, was it last year or 2 years ago that we got Rescue?
Rescue was like end of 2017, essentially, or end
Okay,
of
so yeah, it's been a while then.
yeah.
And it's 2017, early 2018, something like
Hmm.
that. Anyways, you can fact check us on that, by the way, if anyone cares enough. Anyways, we have Younha with her new mini album, Stable Mindset.
So you can read this one.
Yes. So starting off, we have the song Four Season, and I wrote this in all caps. I love this song. Like, this is so good. Like from what I've heard from her, I think these are some of Yuna's best vocals, like easily. Like it's so like gentle and understated, but also at the same time it's so clean and powerful at times as well. The string and piano instrumental also went really well to like the. I think this is a theme throughout the whole album. It's like it's very clean sounding, which I really like. It's a no pun intended. Like it's a breath of fresh air in my opinion. As far as I guess what's going on in the ballads that I check out recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was excellent.
I mean, I think we all have an affinity for her style of ballad or her voice in the context of a ballad, because I mean, we usually just find them mostly boring, but yeah, there's something about whatever she's doing with her voice that, I mean, it's definitely explainable, but her voice is just, again, a breath of fresh air. I believe Nate mentioned it a bit, or alluded to it, but yeah, this song has like a 3/4 like waltz type of feel to it.
Yep.
Her voice just feels so at home with like this like elaborate, like almost fantastical sounding string section. There's a part during like the build up to the chorus, just like right before like, or just towards the end of the verse, where it just cuts to the piano and just her voice. I think that's a really nice detail in itself, but the chorus just definitely delivers, showcases a lot of her vocal range, just basically everything you want out of a Younha song. So yeah, very enjoyable on my end.
All right, so Nate, he says, awesome start with the strings, piano, and very quiet march beat. The marching snare drum and the 3/4 time signature gives it a waltz feel. Really cool to hear it in a Korean ballad. Yuna's voice is amazing like usual, something I'll probably say the whole album. Great instrumental arrangement overall.
Cooper definitely praises this song as well. He says, this song is so beautiful. I love the swing, strings, and piano. Sounds really classical and fantastical. Her vocals are equally sweet and equally powerful. Really stand out first track. Yeah, I'd say that's what I have to say about most of the album, is that it's very short, but I feel like there's a purpose to almost every song on here. So
yeah,
nothing. It doesn't overstay its welcome.
All right. Next up, we have Lonely, which is
a cover of the 21 song.
Of the 21 song. Yeah. All right. So once again, super, super, super clean vocals, which is, again, a theme throughout the whole album that I really appreciate. Nate recently gave me a large part of Yuna's discography. So after this album, I'm definitely going to listen to it, I think. Yeah, I really like what the pianos are doing. I think are like triplets, I guess. I'm not really good at this kind of thing, so you can fact check me there. But either way, again, it's a really, really amazing soft ballad.
I mean, it's weird for me to say that this was kind of like the weakest song on the album, just because I still like it a lot. I mean, it definitely is the least ambitious of the tracks on here, but I mean, even after saying that, like the vocals are great, instrumentals are great, vocalization parts are great. Definitely fits like the sort of like late 90s, early 2000s like indie type of indie American type of music vibe that she fits so well. So yeah. I mean, it might not have been like the most like my favorite, but I mean, it's still a really good song.
Yeah. All right, so Nate, he says, I really like how, despite the songs being ballads, the styles of beat are very different. This song has a bit of a classic hip-hop beat. That's an interesting take.
Yeah, it's kind of like a boom bat type thing. I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, definitely she's no stranger to it, having worked with Epic High before. That's very much in their
Umbrella,
wheelhouse.
one of my favorite songs of all time.
Definitely. If you're not familiar with Younha, I mean, not too many people are. Definitely go listen to that. At least listen to Umbrella. She has two versions. She has a version she did on her own and a version she did as a collaboration with Epic High. So both are excellent.
Yep.
So go listen.
All right. I love how back to Nate, by the way. I love how low she keeps her voice for this song. It's got that super airy style that I love. Acoustic guitar was a nice addition for the chorus and second verse, very much sticking to Younha's style.
Cooper says, a bit of a faster song, though still a ballad. I like the beat here and the more acoustic approach to keep things interesting.
All right, next up we have On a Rainy Day.
Oops.
I
didn't change the screenshot, but you'll understand.
Anyways, so in my notes, I was like, I'm kind of running out of things today to say because all of these songs are really great for very similar reasons, in my opinion. Particularly, again, for her vocals just blow me away on every single time. I think the strings in the background are really nice, as well as the always welcomed addition of a bass. And as we know already, the vocals on the track, again, are fantastic. So definitely another one worth checking out. Nate said, oh wait, no, it's your turn now, actually.
Yeah, hold on. I just made sure to change it so people would know what the heck we were talking about. Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that she'd go with a more ballady type track for like the title.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a standard ballad.
And I mean, that's what she's known for.
Here.
Yeah, that's what she's mostly known for in Korea. Just a lot of her ballad performances. And no surprise, it's like charting in like the top 30 because she definitely destroyed. Like, she's not gonna register on like any international fans' radar too much, but she definitely is she has her following in Korea. So yeah, it's definitely mostly like a piano and violin driven type of song. It definitely picks up a bit after the chorus during the second verse. There's a really speaking of triplets, like you said in the other song, there's like a really interesting dun like section during the chorus that I really enjoyed. That high note though.
Yeah, definitely.
That's probably one of like the rawest, most ridiculous high notes I've ever heard in any music I've ever listened to my entire life. Like, she really is the gold standard for ballad singers in Korea, I feel. Yeah. So, I mean, I enjoyed this song a lot. I mean, because she did release Snail Mail as sort of like a digital single, I believe, towards the end of last year, and very much following up on the heels of that. Just incredible vocals all the way through. And I feel like, yeah, the vocal melody and performance that she delivers is what makes her ballad stand out so much more than the hundreds of other Korean ballad singers you have out there. Like, it's a very saturated market, but yeah, Younha just has a specific color to her voice that just makes her stand out.
Yeah.
Not much goes on in the music video, in all honesty, but I do like, I'm a really big fan of ambient noise, and like, obviously being the title of the song, like Rainy Day, like you hear a lot of like raindrops and like water rushing sort of thing. So I thought that was a nice touch to sort of interweave that with the music video. So it's still a really nice touch.
Yeah. All right. Nate says, the emotion in the song is incredible. I still get chills even after listening to it dozens of times. The minimalist start with just the piano is great, allowing Younha to showcase her incredible vocal skill. Then the strings and hints of guitar come in to build the song perfectly. Her high note leading into a quieter piano part is incredible. Then it goes full-on power ballad with electric guitar for the last vocal part, leading into an amazing piano outro. This is a UR tier ballad for me. Yeah, see, that's huge praise.
Yeah, that is there. That's huge. I mean, that's huge praise, not surprisingly, but that's how much.
For those who aren't familiar with the song, "UR" is a amazing ballad by Taeyeon. So,
and I feel like she's in terms of praise, like you could definitely put her in the realm of like Taeyeon in terms of like good singers.
For sure. Continuing on with what Nate had to say, everything I could have wanted from a Younha single. MV is beautifully shot, not the highest budget, but they did amazing with the camera work and lighting.
Cooper says, power ballad time. It really is. The MV is pretty though standard. These kinds of ballads have to have the vocals to support the instrumental, and Younha more than delivers the goods. Indeed.
Yes. All right. Next is the hardest work. Again, I had trouble describing just because
like her and Ailey, it's like hard not to be like her vocals are great in this song just because that's kind of how it is on every track.
Definitely the main appeal here, because like I basically said, same as last, again, some of her best vocals. Like it's like this is an incredible ballad that I think you just have to listen to know what we're talking about. So if you haven't listened to the album, I don't know why you're listening to this review.
Oh no, go stop what you're doing. Go listen to the album right now.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely come back to this afterwards.
Yeah, the hardest work again is another fantastic ballad. That the only reason I didn't really have much to say is just because what I'd be commenting on is like kind of regurgitating similar things I've already said for the other songs that it also does great on. So definitely check it out.
This was actually probably my favorite on the album, even more than On a Rainy Day, just because I feel like this is probably more similar to Snail Mail than even like On a Rainy Day was. It's got that sort of like low-key vibe to it. There's an incredible emotional build-up that they deliver in the chorus when she sort of hits that high note. Again, I feel like she's not that well known to international fans, and I mean her high notes, but I'd say her high notes are probably on par with like an IU or an Ailey or anyone else in terms of female vocals. I mean, again, she doesn't belt as much as an Ailey does, but whenever she uses like the vocal range that she does, she has mastery over all sections or all portions of her vocal range, and it definitely shows in these types of tracks, even though they're kind of low key and laid back.
All right, so continuing on.
Oh wait, Nate.
With Nate's.
Good save.
With Nate's thoughts. Another solid ballad. Much more classic feeling, focusing just on the piano for beat at first, and then adding a slower drum part. Great string and guitar additions to highlight her voice. Once again, another song where she stays super low for parts, and it sounds fantastic. It accents her high notes really well, which I definitely agree with.
Cooper says, another power ballad. The bass and piano are good. The drum set is also solid to back up her belting at the end.
Yes. All right. Lastly, we have Rainy Night, which I guess is kind of the sequel to On a Rainy Day.
Yeah.
So I really, really love this song. This is probably my second favorite on the album behind Four Season. I love how like it's just super gentle. I thought this was a great way to end the album after having a bunch of songs with gentle yet powerful vocals, and kind of end on one that's just full on like gentle. I feel like it's the best way to describe it. It's just gentle and clean and I don't know, serene.
Yeah.
Awesome. I thought this was an amazing track.
Yeah. Again, definitely has similar vibes to On a Rainy Day. Specifically, it has a lot of ambient noise with like raindrops in the background. Again, it's probably the most low-key track on the entire album, but again, just like you said, she has a softness to her voice, yet still maintains a certain amount of control to it. And definitely like the piano instrumental here is incredibly moving. I'd say this specifically just reminds me a lot of what I love about, what's her name, Baekhyun, in sort of similar that it's nothing too crazy in terms of like belting or whatever. It's just the amount of control she has over her voice and the emotion she's able to deliver on such a low key, almost minimalist type track is just incredible. Like you feel like there's barely any instrumental, but there's definitely a lot of emotion to be felt out of this track. So yeah, I couldn't think of a better way to end the mini album.
Yes. All right. So Nate, his thoughts were, I was surprised the single didn't include the ambient rain sounds, but I'm glad one of the songs in the album did, since it was the whole concept of the album. It makes sense to put it on the most ballady of the songs on the album full of ballads. The vocal melodies on the song are probably the best on the album, which makes sense because it has the most minimalistic instrumentals. It's got an almost musical feeling to it. Also, almost musical feeling to it. Okay, anyways, also they do some really good vocal layering with their singing in different registers.
Cooper says, a perfect relaxing closer. The rain sounds are so calming and peaceful. Her voice is light and airy, which fits the song perfectly. Yep, basically, like, if you need, like, perfect sleepy time music, like, Younha is probably number one on the, like, sleepy time music Korean artist, like, tier list, so to speak. Yeah, she, like, I mean, when I was on my plane ride over to Korea, basically, like, I would just spam, like, snail mail because it just put me to sleep so well. It's such a good song. So if you're into this type of, like, low key, like, relaxing type of music, I'd say definitely check her out.
Sure. All right, so I guess we can go into ratings. For music, I gave full points, 7 out of 7. Every single song, I think, could have easily been the single to get the MV. All fantastic ballads. I don't think I really need to say more. I definitely like Four Seasons the most. But yeah. Oh, we didn't mention it's a cover of the Taeyeon song.
Wow, that was quick.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, so for concept, I gave it 2.5 out of 3 because I like how clean looking the album art looks like. I feel like it really fits the musical aesthetic of the album as well as visually. Like the track placement, I think it all flows really well. I feel like that's kind of hard to mess up because they're all ballads, but I think it works really well, especially with like On a Rainy Day and Rainy Night kind of playing off of each other a little bit as well. So 2.5 out of 3 for that, and then overall I gave a 9.5 out of 10. So I really, really, really love this mini album.
For me, I'm giving full marks for the single, 3.5 out of 3.5. That high note is going to be stuck with me for the rest of my life, probably. I'm never going to forget it. Only 3 points out of 3.5 for the album, though. I'd say maybe if Lonely was more standout, I'd probably give it full marks. I mean, it's kind of hard for me not to give it full marks considering how much I loved Four Seasons and The Hardest Work and Rainy Night. But yeah, it just slightly misses the mark on that aspect. Concept, 2 out of 3. Again, you can't really, it's hard to judge concept in terms of like a ballad singer, but I mean, what she did show was interesting, but nothing really too crazy. I mean, I'd say I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10, but don't get me wrong that this album is incredible. It still could be a favorite. It still could be considered a favorite of mine. I'd say maybe it definitely is not as adventurous and ambitious as Rescue was, but I'd say, I mean, I'd love to see her sort of experiment again, much in the same way she did on that album. But for what she did in terms of just mostly sticking to low-key, ballady type tracks, I mean, she just hit it out of the park. So that's probably like it was so borderline 8.5 and 9, but I don't think it's gonna matter because of what Nate's score is. I already checked it.
Yep, Nate. No surprise here. Everyone already guessed it. Nate gave 7 for music, 3 for concept for a 10 overall.
And Cooper gave it 9 out of 10. So that would
amazing.
Yeah. So
what was his music and concept breakdown?
He gave 6.5, 2.5. So
okay, all right, cool.
Almost perfect for everything. And I mean, yeah, just doing all the math, it ends up with a 9. So it definitely gets a shiny. Younha definitely is the front runner for like best ballad acoustic artist.
Sure.
Yeah, so again, if you're not as familiar with her, definitely go check out the rest of her discography. Check out Staple Mindset. Definitely go back and check out Rescue. We usually shit on ballad songs a lot on this channel, but I mean, that should,
like, this is how you do it. This is how you make yourself stand out.
Yeah,
you gotta have the vocals. You gotta have the composition to make it stand out, you know?
Yeah, so it should definitely say something that we're giving this high praise to essentially an entire album full of ballads. It's that good.
Yeah, I mean, when there's a good ballad, if it's really good, it's really good.
Yeah,
like,
so that should, it just shows how much we enjoyed it. So, if you're checking out Younha for the first time, let us know what your thoughts are. Did you like On a Rainy Day? Which was your favorite song? Let us all know what your thoughts are in the comments below.
Yep.
Still don't know why they just randomly did Highlight and then it was separate from the rest of their set.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was Everglow influence, like them having more time because it was separate from the rest of their songs, which none of the artists did. the only time they had separate